June 15, 1955. The coastal community of Manalapan, Florida, nestled along the pristine Atlantic, was a picture of serene affluence. Ocean breezes carried the scent of salt and hibiscus, rustling through palm trees. In their oceanfront home, 58-year-old Circuit Judge Curtis Chillingworth and his 54-year-old wife, Marjorie, retired for the night, their lives reflecting the quiet dignity of their surroundings. This was a place where doors were left unlocked, and the greatest concern was often the shifting tides. But on this particular night, an unseen current was pulling at the edges of their tranquil world, threatening to drag them into an abyss of unimaginable horror. The following morning, the usual rhythm of the Chillingworth household was broken. Their daughter, Helen, arriving for her regular visit, found the house unusually quiet. The front door was ajar, the lights were on, and her parents' beds were empty, sheets turned back as if they had simply vanished. 2 glasses of milk sat on the bedside table, untouched. Helen's heart sank with a chilling premonition. The calm of Manalapan was shattered by a terrifying question: where were Judge Curtis and Marjorie Chillingworth? What began as a puzzling absence would soon escalate into one of Florida's most enduring and perplexing mysteries, challenging the very fabric of justice and trust. Judge Curtis E. Chillingworth was not just any magistrate, he was a pillar of the community, respected and admired throughout Palm Beach County. A descendant of a prominent Florida pioneer family, Chillingworth had served on the bench for over 3 decades, earning a reputation for unwavering integrity and a deep commitment to the law. He was known for his stern opposition to corruption and his fearless pursuit of justice, often ruling against powerful figures. His moral compass was unyielding, a quality that, in hindsight, may have made him a dangerous adversary to those who operated outside the law. His disappearance sent ripples of fear through a society that revered him. The immediate police response was swift, but bewildering. Investigators found no signs of forced entry, no struggle, and no ransacking of the Chillingworth home. The only anomaly was a small, empty liquor bottle left on the driveway, a detail that seemed oddly out of place for the abstemious judge. It suggested either a meticulously planned abduction or a departure the couple willingly made, an idea quickly dismissed by those who knew their routine. The absence of concrete evidence created a vacuum, quickly filled by speculation and dread. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong, it felt far more personal, far more sinister, than a simple break-in. As news of the Chillingworth's disappearance spread, a wave of fear washed over Manalapan and beyond. People who once left their doors unlocked now double-checked their latches. The image of a respected judge and his wife vanishing without a trace was profoundly unsettling, suggesting that if even someone of Chillingworth's stature wasn't safe, then no one was. Citizens organized search parties, combing the beaches and swamps, but found nothing. The lack of clues only deepened the mystery, fueling rampant rumors and theories that circulated like wildfire, each more disturbing than the last. The sun-drenched facade of South Florida had been irrevocably tarnished. Investigators grappled with 2 primary theories: a kidnapping for ransom or an elaborate escape. The Chillingworths were comfortable, but not immensely wealthy, making a high-stakes ransom demand unlikely. And the idea of the judge and his wife abandoning their lives and respected positions seemed ludicrous to anyone who knew them. Yet, without any physical evidence of foul play, police were left with little else. The initial days were a frantic blur of interviews and dead ends, a desperate search for a logical explanation in an increasingly illogical situation. Every lead vanished into the humid Florida air, leaving behind only frustration and unanswered questions. As the initial panic subsided into a cold dread, attention inevitably turned to Judge Chillingworth's professional life. His stern, unyielding approach to justice had undoubtedly made him enemies. He was particularly aggressive in cracking down on illegal gambling operations and organized crime, which had a significant presence in South Florida during the 1950s. Had his commitment to upholding the law put him directly in the crosshairs of dangerous individuals? Could his disappearance be a message, a brutal warning to other honest officials? The idea was chilling, suggesting a deeply entrenched network of corruption that could reach even a respected judge's doorstep. The case garnered national attention, putting immense pressure on local law enforcement to produce answers. Yet, days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, with no substantial breakthroughs. The authorities felt the strain, caught between a demanding public and a frustratingly blank slate. Detectives followed countless leads, interviewing hundreds of people, but each path led to a dead end. The Chillingworths seemed to have vanished into thin air, leaving behind only their empty home and a community haunted by their absence. The once bright promise of a quick resolution faded into a grim reality, giving way to the agonizing suspicion that this mystery might never be solved. Among those most affected was their son, attorney C. Chillingworth Jr., who tirelessly pursued every possible avenue to find his parents. He offered rewards, consulted psychics, and pushed authorities to keep the case active, despite the mounting evidence of its cold status. His grief was compounded by a deep sense of helplessness as the years passed without any concrete leads. He dedicated himself to keeping their memory alive, ensuring that his parents were not forgotten, and that the chilling injustice of their disappearance would not fade into the annals of Florida's unsolved crimes. His personal quest became a poignant symbol of enduring familial love and determination. By the late 1950s, the Chillingworth disappearance had officially become a cold case. The intensive investigations had yielded nothing but theories and suspicions. The police department's file on the Chillingworths grew thick with reports and interviews, but lacked the crucial piece of evidence needed to crack the case. The initial fervor had long since faded, replaced by the grim reality that the trail had gone truly cold. The couple's names remained etched in public memory as a symbol of profound injustice, a haunting reminder that even in seemingly idyllic corners of America, darkness could strike swiftly and without explanation, leaving behind only silence. Years later, in 1960, a new face emerged in Palm Beach County law enforcement. Sheriff Frank J. Sproles, a former FBI agent, took office. Unlike his predecessors, Sproles was unwilling to let the Chillingworth case languish in the cold file archives. He recognized the profound impact it had on the community and understood that true justice demanded persistent effort. Sproles quietly began to revisit the old files, looking for any overlooked detail, any misplaced word, any flicker of a lead that might have been dismissed. He brought a fresh perspective and a determination that the Chillingworths would not be forgotten. This renewed attention, though initially subtle, would prove to be a pivotal turning point. The breakthrough came in 1966, 6 years into Sproles' tenure and 11 years after the disappearance. It arrived from an unexpected source, an inmate named Floyd "Shotgun" Halsapfel. Halsapfel, a notorious criminal with a violent past, was serving time for an unrelated charge. Facing a lengthy sentence, and perhaps burdened by a secret too heavy to carry, he began to confide in his cellmate. His confession was a bombshell, detailing not only his own involvement but also implicating others in the Chillingworths' fate. It was a moment that promised to shatter the decade of silence and finally reveal the horrific truth behind the vanishing. Halsapfel's confession painted a grim picture. He described how he and another man, Bobby Lincoln, had staked out the Chillingworth home on the night of June 15, 1955. They entered the house through an unlocked door, surprising the sleeping judge and his wife. Under duress, the couple was forced into their own vehicle. The terrifying abduction was swift and brutal, a calculated act designed to leave no trace. Halsapfel recounted the chilling details with a detached precision that spoke volumes of his hardened nature, finally giving investigators the answers they had desperately sought for over a decade. The truth was far more horrifying than any initial theory. The horrific journey continued. Halsapfel revealed that they drove the Chillingworths to a remote area near the coast. There, the couple was forced onto a waiting boat. Their ultimate destination, the vast, unforgiving expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. This detail explained the complete lack of bodies or conventional crime scene evidence. The killers had meticulously planned to dispose of their victims in a way that would ensure their disappearance would remain a permanent mystery. The waves would become their tomb, washing away all traces of the crime. This was not a spur-of-the-moment act, but a premeditated execution designed to erase two lives from existence. Halsapfel chillingly described the final moments. Once far out at sea, the Chillingworths were bound with heavy weights attached to their bodies. In the dark of the night, they were thrown overboard, disappearing beneath the waves. The exact method of their murder remains somewhat contested. Some accounts suggest they were shot first, others that they were drowned. Regardless, their deaths were a brutal, calculated act, intended to silence them forever. Their bodies were never recovered, swallowed by the ocean, just as their abductors intended. The confession finally confirmed the community's worst fears, bringing a gruesome end to years of hopeful speculation. While Halsapfel and Lincoln were the hands-on perpetrators, their confession hinted at a far more shocking truth: they were merely henchmen. The critical question became, who ordered the hit? Who had enough power and motive to orchestrate the assassination of a sitting circuit judge? Halsapfel pointed the finger at an individual whose name sent shockwaves through the Florida legal community, Judge Joseph Peel Jr. The idea that another judge could be behind such a heinous crime was almost unfathomable, a betrayal of the highest order that threatened to undermine the very foundation of justice. This revelation transformed the case from a simple disappearance to a conspiracy of breathtaking proportions. Judge Joseph Peel Jr. was a well-known figure, but his reputation was tainted by whispers of corruption and unethical conduct. He was deeply entrenched in local organized crime, particularly illegal gambling, a world that Judge Chillingworth vigorously opposed. Peel, a fellow judge, saw Chillingworth as an obstacle to his illicit dealings and ambitions. Chillingworth's integrity was a direct threat to Peel's network of corruption, as Peel had allegedly taken bribes and made favorable rulings for criminals. The elimination of Judge Chillingworth would remove a powerful check on Peel's illicit influence and potentially open the door for his own ascension within the judicial system. The motive was starkly clear: Judge Chillingworth had become an insurmountable obstacle. He was preparing to rule against one of Peel's associates in a significant land dispute case, a ruling that could have exposed Peel's own connections to illegal activities and potentially derailed his judicial career. The murder was not just about silencing a witness, it was about eliminating a moral and legal barrier. For Peel, Chillingworth's continued presence on the bench represented a constant threat to his power and financial gain. The decision to order an assassination was a cold, calculated move to protect a criminal empire disguised under the robes of justice. Peel's involvement revealed a deeply entrenched web of deceit and bribery that stretched through parts of the judicial system. His ability to commission such a grave crime and keep it secret for over a decade highlighted the insidious nature of corruption. The case laid bare how a trusted figure could betray their oath, using their position not to uphold justice, but to subvert it for personal gain. It was a shattering realization for a public that relied on the integrity of its judges. The Chillingworth murders became a stark warning about the hidden dangers lurking beneath the veneer of respectability and lawfulness. Armed with Halsapfel's detailed confession and subsequent corroboration, Sheriff Sproles moved decisively. Warrants were issued, and arrests followed. Floyd Halsapfel and Bobby Lincoln were taken into custody, finally facing justice for their role in the abduction and murder. But the most shocking arrest was that of Judge Joseph Peel Jr., who was charged with orchestrating the entire conspiracy. The news reverberated across Florida, a stark confirmation of the darkest rumors and a stunning indictment of judicial integrity. It marked the beginning of a new chapter in the Chillingworth saga, one focused on accountability and the arduous path to justice. Floyd Halsapfel, facing overwhelming evidence from his own confession, was tried first. His testimony was chillingly direct, recounting the events of that fateful night in Manalapan with grim precision. The courtroom was packed, eager to hear the long-awaited truth. His words brought to life the terror of the Chillingworth's final hours and painted a vivid picture of the cold-blooded planning behind their demise. While his testimony was crucial for exposing the larger conspiracy, his own fate was sealed. The jury quickly reached a verdict, ensuring that Shotgun Halsapfel would spend the rest of his life behind bars for his role in the heinous crime. Bobby Lincoln, Halsapfel's accomplice, also faced trial. His involvement in the abduction and murder was corroborated by Halsapfel's testimony and other investigative details. Although he denied direct participation in the actual killing, his presence and role in facilitating the crime were undeniable. The jury, presented with the grim details of the Chillingworth's final journey, found Lincoln guilty. Like Halsapfel, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. The convictions of these two men marked a significant victory for justice, finally bringing some measure of accountability to those who physically carried out the brutal act, though the masterminds still loomed large. The most anticipated trial was that of Judge Joseph Peel Jr. The prosecution presented a compelling case, weaving together Halsapfel's confession, circumstantial evidence, and the clear motive of removing a judicial obstacle. Peel maintained his innocence, portraying himself as a victim of false accusations from a career criminal. The courtroom was a theater of high drama, as the legal community watched in disbelief as one of their own faced charges of ordering a double murder. The implications were enormous, questioning the integrity of the entire judicial system and casting a long shadow over the very concept of justice. After a hard-fought trial, the jury found Judge Joseph Peel Jr. guilty of first-degree murder. The verdict sent a powerful message: no one, regardless of their position, was above the law. Peel was sentenced to life imprisonment, seemingly bringing a definitive end to the Chillingworth saga. However, the legal battle was far from over. Peel's legal team immediately filed an appeal, arguing that the confession of an accomplice, Halsapfel, was obtained under duress and therefore tainted the entire conviction. This appeal would plunge the Chillingworth family and the community back into an agonizing state of uncertainty, delaying true closure. In a stunning development, the appellate court sided with Peel, overturning his conviction. The grounds for the reversal were precisely what the defense had argued: Halsapfel's confession was indeed found to have been coerced, violating Peel's constitutional rights. This ruling was a devastating blow to the prosecution and a crushing disappointment for the Chillingworth family, who had believed justice was finally served. The man deemed responsible for ordering the murders was now free from his conviction, and the very foundation of the state's case against him had crumbled, leaving a gaping void where closure should have been. Despite the overturned conviction, the shadow of the Chillingworth murders still loomed large over Joseph Peel Jr. The prosecutor, determined to secure some form of justice, offered Peel a plea bargain. In 1969, Peel accepted, pleading guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder. In exchange for his plea, he received a reduced sentence of 2 life terms to be served concurrently, meaning he would be eligible for parole after a decade. While not the full justice the family desired, it was a practical outcome, ensuring Peel would remain behind bars, officially acknowledging his role in the crime without the uncertainties of a new trial. Joseph Peel Jr. served his sentence, eventually being released on parole in 1982 after 13 years in prison. He died shortly after his release, his life ending shrouded in the infamy of the Chillingworth murders. His case remains a complex and controversial chapter in Florida's legal history, a testament to the intricate dance between justice, due process, and the harsh realities of criminal intent. Even after his death, questions lingered about the full extent of his network and whether all those involved in the conspiracy were truly brought to light. The shadow of his actions would forever define his legacy. Floyd Halsapfel, the trigger man whose confession cracked the case, remained incarcerated for his role. He never sought parole and died in prison in 1996, decades after the murders. His life of crime ended behind bars, a stark contrast to Peel's eventual release. While his confession brought horrific truth to light, it also condemned him. Halsapfel's testimony, though legally flawed for Peel's case, undeniably helped unravel the mystery, providing crucial details that would have otherwise remained buried. His willingness to speak, however motivated, eventually led to a measure of truth for the Chillingworth family. Bobby Lincoln, the other accomplice, also served a life sentence. Details of his later life in prison are less publicized, but he remained behind bars for his part in the abduction and murder. Like Halsapfel, his fate was sealed by his involvement in that dark night in 1955. The collective sentences of these two men, even with Peel's convoluted legal journey, undeniably brought a form of punitive justice for the Chillingworth's deaths. They represented the physical force behind the judicial assassination, forever linked to one of Florida's most infamous criminal conspiracies. The Chillingworth murders left an indelible mark on Florida. The case remains a stark reminder of the potential for corruption to infiltrate even the most trusted institutions and the lengths to which individuals will go to maintain power and cover their tracks. It brought to light the vulnerability of those who champion integrity against powerful, illicit networks. The memory of Judge Curtis and Marjorie Chillingworth persists, not just as victims of a brutal crime, but as symbols of unwavering commitment to justice, whose disappearance ultimately exposed the insidious darkness lurking beneath the surface of a seemingly perfect community. For decades, the Chillingworth murder case captivated true crime enthusiasts and legal scholars alike. Its intricate layers of political intrigue, judicial corruption, and the shocking revelation of a fellow judge's involvement make it a truly unique and enduring story. It's a case that highlights the painstaking work of dedicated law enforcement, the fragility of justice in the face of power, and the ultimate triumph of truth, however belated and imperfect. The long journey from a baffling disappearance to the eventual unmasking of the perpetrators underscores the relentless pursuit necessary to bring light to the darkest corners of human depravity. Judge Chillingworth's steadfast refusal to compromise his integrity ultimately cost him his life. He became a martyr for judicial ethics, his story serving as a cautionary tale of the dangers faced by those who dare to challenge entrenched corruption. The fact that the perpetrators believed they could literally make him vanish and silence his influence forever speaks volumes about the arrogance and perceived impunity of those involved. But in the end, truth has a way of surfacing, even from the deepest ocean. The silence of Manalapan was eventually broken, revealing a story that resonates with a timeless warning about power, greed, and justice. The Chillingworth case sends a chilling message that justice is not always swift, nor is it always neat. It can be a messy, protracted battle against powerful forces. But it also affirms the power of persistence and the enduring human desire for accountability. The disappearance that haunted a state for over a decade finally yielded its secrets, revealing a saga of betrayal and murder that continues to fascinate and horrify. It stands as a testament to the victims whose lives were unjustly taken, and to the detectives who refused to let their memory, or their story, be forgotten. The silence was broken, and the truth, however painful, was finally heard. Even today, the Chillingworth murders are a whispered legend in Manalapan and Palm Beach County. The once tranquil community, though generations removed from the events, remembers the day its innocence was shattered. The story serves as a perennial reminder that even in the most picturesque settings, evil can take root. Local historical societies and true crime enthusiasts continue to revisit the case, ensuring that Judge Chillingworth and his wife Marjorie are not forgotten. Their names are synonymous with a fight for justice that spanned decades and ultimately uncovered a shocking truth hidden in plain sight. While the main perpetrators were eventually brought to justice, the Chillingworth case still holds an enduring mystery. Were there others involved, higher up in the organized crime hierarchy, who were never truly exposed? The full extent of judicial corruption in Florida during that era may never be completely known. These lingering questions add another layer to an already complex narrative, ensuring that the story of Judge Chillingworth and his wife Marjorie remains a compelling, albeit tragic, piece of true crime history. Their disappearance serves as a perpetual reminder of society's unending battle against the forces of darkness and deceit. The Chillingworth judicial assassination remains one of Florida's darkest secrets, a stark counterpoint to the state's sun-drenched image. It's a story that reveals the corrupt underbelly of a rapidly growing region, where power and profit sometimes trumped law and order. The tragic fate of the Chillingworths became a catalyst for change, prompting closer scrutiny of judicial conduct and emphasizing the critical importance of an impartial judiciary. Their story is more than a cold case solved. It's a profound narrative about the enduring struggle for integrity in a world often shadowed by moral compromise. Ultimately, it was the confession of a hardened criminal, Floyd Halsapfel, that unraveled a decade-long mystery. His words, born out of desperation and perhaps a flicker of conscience, pierced through the layers of secrecy and denial. It underscores the unpredictable nature of criminal investigations and how an unexpected turn can often be the key to unlocking long-held truths. The power of his confession was immense, not only in identifying the immediate culprits but in exposing the orchestrator and the intricate web of corruption that allowed such a crime to be conceived and executed. It was the crack that brought the whole edifice down. The Chillingworth family paid an immeasurable personal price, enduring years of uncertainty and grief. Their son, C.E. Chillingworth Jr., dedicated a significant portion of his life to finding answers for his parents. The resolution, though imperfect and prolonged, offered a form of closure, allowing them to finally lay to rest the haunting questions that had plagued their lives. Their resilience in the face of such profound tragedy is a testament to the strength of family bonds and the enduring quest for truth, even when the path is fraught with despair and false hope. The long wait for answers ended, but the pain remained. The Chillingworth case forced a difficult introspection within the legal community. It prompted discussions about stricter ethical oversight for judges and the need for greater transparency in the courts. The shocking revelation of Judge Peel's involvement served as a wake-up call, emphasizing that the integrity of the judiciary is paramount and must be fiercely protected. This tragedy, in a perverse way, strengthened the resolve of many honest legal professionals to uphold the principles Judge Chillingworth so bravely embodied, ensuring his sacrifice was not entirely in vain. His story became a cautionary tale, but also a call to action. Even today, the echoes of the Chillingworth murders resonate through Florida's legal landscape. It serves as a historical touchstone, a reminder that while the past is often buried, it is never truly forgotten. The advancements in forensic science and investigative techniques since 1955 offer a glimmer of hope that such a prolonged disappearance and cover-up might be harder to achieve today. But the fundamental lessons about human nature, the allure of power, and the corrosive effect of corruption remain as relevant as ever, urging constant vigilance from both the public and those sworn to uphold justice. The past continues to inform the present. Judge Curtis Chillingworth's legacy is one of unwavering justice, even in the face of ultimate peril. His story, and that of his wife Marjorie, has become a somber chapter in the annals of true crime, a testament to the fact that integrity can come at a terrible price. Yet, it also illustrates the enduring power of truth to emerge, no matter how deeply buried. The Chillingworth murders remain a compelling, albeit tragic, narrative that continues to spark discussion, serving as a powerful reminder of the hidden darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of respectability, and the relentless pursuit required to bring it to light. Their story ensures vigilance. The Chillingworths vanished, but their story did not. It endured, whispered in corridors, printed in newspapers, and finally, shouted from a jail cell. Their case, once a symbol of an insoluble mystery, transformed into a saga of corruption unveiled and justice, however flawed, ultimately served. It reminds us that behind every cold case, there are lives irrevocably altered, and a profound yearning for answers. This judicial assassination, hidden for years beneath the waves and layers of deceit, now stands as a stark, unforgettable chapter in the ongoing fight for truth and accountability in our justice systems. It serves as a perpetual warning. Judge Curtis Chillingworth began his legal career with a commitment to integrity that would define his life. Born into a prominent family, he quickly rose through the ranks, first as a prosecuting attorney, then as a judge. His court was known for its fairness, but also for its unyielding stance against those who sought to exploit loopholes or engage in illicit activities. He was a man who believed implicitly in the rule of law, and his judgments often reflected a moral clarity that was both admired and, as it turned out, resented. His reputation was impeccable, a fact that made his disappearance even more shocking. Marjorie Chillingworth, the judge's wife, lived a life largely out of the public eye, dedicating herself to her family and community. She was known for her quiet grace, her kindness, and her steadfast support of her husband's demanding career. Her disappearance was particularly tragic as she was an innocent bystander, caught in a web of her husband's professional battles. Her fate underscores the brutal, indiscriminate nature of violent crime, which often sweeps up those least prepared. Marjorie's memory is a poignant reminder of the collateral damage inflicted by those who wield power without conscience. The Chillingworths' home in Manalapan was more than just a house, it was a sanctuary, a symbol of their settled, respectable life. Overlooking the Atlantic, it embodied the peaceful retirement they envisioned. The details of the abduction, an unlocked door, lights left on, untouched glasses of milk, painted a picture of a sudden, violent intrusion that shattered this sanctuary. The house itself became a silent witness, holding the unspoken terrors of that night. Its peaceful facade forever belied the horrors that transpired within its walls, a chilling contrast that deepened the mystery for years. One of the most perplexing aspects of the initial investigation was the complete absence of any ransom demands. If the Chillingworths had been kidnapped, a demand for money would typically follow. Their comfortable financial standing made them potential targets, but no call, no note, no message ever materialized. This critical omission quickly led investigators away from a simple kidnapping theory, pushing them towards something far more sinister, an act designed not for profit, but for permanent removal. The silence was deafening, signaling a motive far darker than mere monetary gain, a motive steeped in malice and ultimate control. South Florida in the 1950s was a hotbed of organized crime, with illegal gambling, prostitution, and drug trafficking rampant. Judge Chillingworth's court was often the battleground for these illicit enterprises, as he consistently ruled against mob-affiliated individuals and businesses. His efforts to clean up the judicial system were a direct challenge to the power structures of figures like Joseph Lucky Iappa, a known mobster with a powerful reach. While Iappa wasn't directly implicated in the Chillingworth murders, the pervasive atmosphere of organized crime provided the fertile ground for Peel's dark plot to take root and flourish. Judge Peel's illicit dealings were largely centered around controlling legal outcomes, particularly in real estate and gambling-related cases. Chillingworth's integrity meant he could not be bought or swayed, making him an unpredictable and dangerous variable in Peel's corrupt equation. Peel allegedly ran a fixer operation, guaranteeing favorable rulings for a price. Chillingworth's very presence, his reputation for fairness, threatened to expose this entire enterprise. The judge's assassination was a desperate measure to protect a vast, lucrative criminal network that operated under the guise of legal respectability. The stakes were incredibly high for Peel. Bobby Lincoln was a small-time criminal, often involved in petty theft and occasional muscle work. He was known to associate with various unsavory figures in the Palm Beach County underworld. Peel, through intermediaries, enlisted Lincoln and Halsapfel for the abduction. Lincoln's role was primarily logistical and physical, helping Halsapfel carry out the initial stages of the crime. He was not the mastermind, but a cog in Peel's machine, driven by the promise of payment and perhaps a misplaced sense of loyalty. His involvement highlights how powerful figures can exploit desperate individuals to commit their darkest deeds. Floyd "Shotgun" Halsapfel earned his menacing nickname due to his violent nature and propensity for using firearms. He was a notorious figure in the criminal underworld, feared for his ruthlessness. His background made him the ideal candidate for a cold-blooded assassination, a man capable of carrying out orders without remorse. Halsapfel's confession was not an act of repentance but likely a strategic move to lessen his own sentence for other crimes. This calculated betrayal, however, ultimately exposed a truth he had helped bury for over a decade, making him a reluctant and chilling catalyst for justice. Sheriff Frank J. Sprouls's determination was the driving force behind reopening the cold case. A former FBI agent, he brought a methodical approach and an unwavering belief that every case could be solved with persistence. He painstakingly reviewed every detail, every forgotten interview, and every discarded theory from the original investigation. It was this renewed focus, coupled with a stroke of luck regarding Halsapfel's imprisonment, that finally broke the silence. Sprouls's commitment stands as a testament to the fact that dedicated law enforcement can, even against long odds, eventually bring perpetrators to justice. He refused to give up hope. Halsapfel's initial confession to a cellmate led to a formal interrogation by Sheriff Sprouls and his team. The process was painstaking, as investigators had to corroborate every detail to ensure its veracity and admissibility in court. They cross-referenced names, dates, and locations, slowly piecing together the fragmented narrative of that dreadful night. The pressure on Halsapfel was immense, but his desire to potentially improve his own circumstances outweighed his loyalty to Peel. This meticulous corroboration was crucial, as it formed the bedrock of the prosecution's case against not only the two perpetrators but also their powerful orchestrator. The Chillingworth case had profound legal ramifications beyond the immediate convictions. It sparked a broader conversation about judicial ethics, accountability, and the influence of organized crime within the legal system. It highlighted the challenges of prosecuting powerful figures and the complexities of relying on accomplice testimony. The overturned conviction of Peel, despite his eventual guilty plea, served as a potent reminder of due process protections, even for those accused of the most heinous crimes. The legal battles became a case study for future generations of lawyers and judges, ensuring its lessons would not be forgotten. The revelation that a fellow judge had orchestrated the murder of Judge Chillingworth deeply eroded public trust in the judiciary. For a society built on the principles of law and order, this betrayal was deeply unsettling. It made people question who they could truly rely on for impartial justice. Restoring this trust became a long and arduous process, requiring visible reforms and a renewed commitment from the state's legal institutions. The Chillingworth case became a powerful symbol of this erosion, a scar on the collective conscience that served as a constant reminder of the fragility of institutional integrity. Despite the confessions and convictions, the bodies of Judge Curtis and Marjorie Chillingworth were never recovered. They remain lost to the depths of the Atlantic, a permanent and haunting aspect of the case. For the family, this meant no grave to visit, no final resting place for their loved ones. The ocean holds their secret, a silent testament to the brutality of their end. This unrecovered aspect adds a layer of sorrow and an enduring physical void to the story, ensuring that while the truth was found, complete closure, in a traditional sense, remains elusive. The sea keeps its grim counsel. The Chillingworth case became a turning point for law enforcement in Palm Beach County and beyond. It demonstrated the importance of cold case units and the value of revisiting old evidence with fresh eyes. Sheriff Sproul's success instilled a new sense of hope and determination among detectives, showing that even the most seemingly unsolvable mysteries could eventually yield answers. The case underscored the need for interagency cooperation and the strategic use of informants. It refined investigative techniques and approaches, making it a foundational example in the history of crime solving in Florida, improving future outcomes. For years after Peel's release, the shadow of the Chillingworth murders continued to follow him. Despite his attempts to fade into anonymity, his name remained irrevocably linked to one of Florida's most infamous judicial scandals. The memory served as a constant reminder of the consequences of his actions, a personal prison beyond the literal one he had served time in. His death marked the final physical end of those directly involved in the crime, but the lessons and the haunting questions surrounding the conspiracy continued to echo through the legal and historical consciousness of the state, a permanent scar. Beyond the legal intricacies and historical significance, the Chillingworth murders represent a profound human cost. 2 lives brutally ended, a family shattered, and a community traumatized. The documentary style allows us to reflect on the individual stories within this larger narrative of corruption and justice. It reminds us that every cold case, every unsolved mystery, carries with it the weight of real human suffering and the desperate hope for answers. The Chillingworth story is not just about a crime, it's about the enduring impact of violence on lives and legacies, a tragic reminder of humanity's darker side. The Chillingworth case is a story that continues to be told, passed down through generations in Florida and beyond. It serves as a cautionary tale for new attorneys and judges, a reminder of the ethical responsibilities inherent in their profession. For true crime enthusiasts, it offers a complex narrative with unexpected twists and a shocking reveal. Its layers of intrigue ensure its place in the pantheon of compelling, yet tragic, American crimes. The details, from the serene Manalapan setting to the ocean's dark secrets, create a narrative that is both educational and deeply unsettling, guaranteeing its enduring impact. The eventual resolution of the Chillingworth case demonstrates that justice often resides in the smallest details, patiently unearthed over time. It was the seemingly insignificant liquor bottle, the meticulous revisiting of old files, and the unexpected confession that slowly pieced together the horrifying truth. This painstaking work, often thankless and frustrating, is the backbone of criminal investigation. It reminds us that even when evidence is scarce and years have passed, dedicated individuals can bring light to the darkest corners, ensuring that no crime, especially one so heinous, truly goes unnoticed or unpunished forever. The Chillingworth murders, like all compelling true crime stories, gain power through their narrative. It is the arc from quiet disappearance to shocking revelation that captivates and educates. The story serves as a mirror, reflecting not just the depths of human depravity, but also the unwavering resolve of those who seek truth. By understanding these narratives, we better grasp the complexities of our justice system, the frailties of human character, and the enduring hope for a world where integrity prevails. This story, presented in its full, unvarnished truth, continues to hold a profound significance. Uncovering the truth in the Chillingworth case was a testament to the fact that secrets, especially dark ones, rarely remain buried forever. The ocean held the Chillingworths' bodies, but not the knowledge of their fate. The conspirators thought their plan foolproof, yet a single, unexpected confession years later brought their intricate web of lies crashing down. It reinforces the notion that the pursuit of justice is a long game, often requiring patience, dedication, and an unshakable belief that the truth, no matter how inconvenient or painful, will eventually find its way to the surface. And when it does, it can be devastating. Judge Joseph Peel Jr. ultimately became the face of corruption in the Chillingworth saga. His betrayal of his judicial oath and his willingness to order a double murder to protect his illicit empire painted a chilling portrait of power gone awry. He was not a typical mob enforcer but a respected figure within the legal system, making his crimes all the more reprehensible. His story serves as a potent reminder that evil can wear many masks, and that vigilance is always required to identify and confront those who would subvert justice for personal gain, regardless of their standing in society. He epitomized betrayal. The Chillingworth murders are a complex case study for anyone interested in true crime, legal history, or the darker side of human nature. It presents a nuanced examination of motives, methods, and the painstaking process of bringing justice to light. From the initial baffling disappearance to the shocking twists of judicial involvement and the legal appeals, every aspect of this story is layered with detail and moral ambiguity. It challenges our perceptions of who commits crimes and why, making it a compelling, if disturbing, exploration of justice tested to its limits. This case offers endless food for thought. The name Chillingworth, once associated with respect and integrity, became synonymous with a profound and baffling mystery. The memory of Judge Curtis and Marjorie Chillingworth lives on, ensuring that their sacrifice was not in vain. Their story continues to serve as a powerful testament to the enduring human quest for justice and accountability. It is a reminder that while criminals may attempt to erase their victims, their names, and the truth of what happened to them, can resonate for generations, demanding to be heard and understood. Their names carry a weight that time cannot diminish. The Chillingworth case is a chilling narrative of when justice itself seemed to disappear. The very institution meant to uphold the law harbored a criminal who orchestrated the murder of one of its own. This profound irony and betrayal make the case particularly resonant. It underscores the constant vigilance required to protect our democratic institutions from within. While the Chillingworths were physically vanished, the principles they stood for, and the truth of their fate, eventually resurfaced, serving as a beacon against the darkness that attempted to engulf them. Their disappearance highlighted a dangerous vulnerability. The Chillingworth murders had a ripple effect that spread far beyond the immediate victims and perpetrators. It impacted the legal community, local law enforcement, and the public's perception of safety and justice. The trauma lingered, a constant reminder of how deeply an act of violence, especially one rooted in corruption, can shake the foundations of society. This ripple effect serves as a powerful illustration of the interconnectedness of communities and the far-reaching consequences when trust is breached. It highlights the long process of healing and rebuilding after such a profound shock. Beyond the sensational headlines and dramatic court proceedings, the Chillingworth case is a deeply human story. It's about a dedicated public servant, a loving wife, and a family's agonizing quest for answers. It's about the corrupt choices of individuals and the relentless work of those who refuse to let evil prevail. By looking beyond the facts and numbers, we gain insight into the emotional toll, the quiet despair, and the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of unspeakable horror. This documentary attempts to honor that human element, giving voice to those who were silenced. Memory plays a crucial role in true crime, ensuring that victims are not forgotten and lessons are learned. The Chillingworth case demonstrates the power of collective memory, kept alive by family, investigators, and historians. It's a collective effort to speak for those who cannot, to ensure their story contributes to a greater understanding of justice, integrity, and the enduring fight against corruption. The act of remembering becomes an act of defiance against the very forces that sought to erase the Chillingworths from existence. Their memory serves as a constant guard against complacency and forgetfulness. The Chillingworth judicial assassination stands as a powerful beacon of warning. It alerts us to the ever-present threat of corruption, even within the most respected institutions. It demands perpetual vigilance, reminding us that the foundations of justice are only as strong as the integrity of those who uphold them. This case, once a dark secret, now shines a harsh light on the insidious nature of power and greed. Its story is essential, not just as a piece of history, but as a living lesson for today and for generations to come, ensuring that such a profound betrayal never again goes unheeded. While this documentary has focused on the main narrative, it is important to remember that every true crime case holds countless untold details. The smaller interviews, the overlooked coincidences, the personal struggles of every individual involved, they all contribute to the rich tapestry of the story. The Chillingworth case, spanning decades and involving numerous characters, is a prime example of this complexity. Though the major pieces of the puzzle have been placed, the lingering questions and the depths of human motivations ensure that the full, complete story will likely remain forever just beyond our grasp. The nuances are endless. Judge Curtis Chillingworth embodied a legacy of courage. His refusal to bend to corruption, even when it cost him his life, stands as a testament to the principles he served. His story, alongside Marjorie's tragic fate, is a stark reminder of the sacrifices made in the pursuit of justice. It is a legacy that continues to inspire, reminding us that the true measure of a society lies in its willingness to confront its darkest corners and to protect those who bravely uphold its ideals. The Chillingworths' courage shines through the shadows of their tragic end, illuminating a path for others to follow. The Chillingworth murders highlight the devastating cost of silence. For over a decade, a terrible secret was held, perpetuating grief and denying justice. When that silence was finally broken by a confession, however flawed its origins, the truth began its slow, arduous journey to the surface. This case serves as a powerful testament to the fact that secrets, especially those stained with blood and corruption, can never truly remain buried. They will always find a way to emerge, demanding acknowledgement and accountability, no matter how much time has passed, or how powerful those who wish to conceal them might be. The silence was broken, forever. Though the Chillingworth case is officially closed, its story continues to live on. It is retold in documentaries, books, and articles, ensuring that the memory of Judge Curtis and Marjorie Chillingworth, and the shocking judicial assassination that took their lives, is never truly forgotten. The pursuit of truth and justice is an ongoing endeavor, and cases like this serve as vital reminders of why that endeavor is so crucial. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of Florida's most compelling and unsettling true crime mysteries. We hope their story resonates, inspiring continued vigilance and a profound appreciation for justice. Over a decade passed before any meaningful progress was made in the Chillingworth case. This lengthy passage of time added layers of complexity, as memories faded, potential witnesses moved on, and clues grew colder. The weight of time pressed heavily on the family and investigators, threatening to consign the Chillingworths to the realm of truly unsolved mysteries. Yet, it also highlighted the remarkable power of persistence, that even after years, a determined effort, combined with unexpected twists, could pierce through the veil of forgotten history. Time tested, but ultimately did not defeat, the pursuit of truth. The Chillingworth case offered a rare glimpse into the interconnectedness of organized crime and seemingly legitimate society in 1950s Florida. It exposed a hierarchy of corruption where judges could be compromised, and hitmen could be hired with alarming ease. This underworld, often hidden in plain sight, preyed upon the vulnerability of the legal system, undermining public trust and perverting justice for profit. The case served as a stark lesson that the battle against organized crime is not just fought in dark alleyways, but also in courtrooms and the quiet decisions of public officials, demanding constant vigilance. The Chillingworth home, the tranquil ocean, the very streets of Manalapan, all stood as silent witnesses to the unfolding tragedy. They absorbed the events of that night, holding their secrets for years until human courage and determination finally coaxed the truth out. These silent witnesses remind us that landscapes and locations often bear the imprint of history, holding stories that wait patiently to be told. The contrast between the beauty of the Florida coast and the ugliness of the crime serves as a powerful narrative device, deepening the impact of a story already fraught with human drama and betrayal. The judicial oath, a solemn promise to uphold the law and administer justice impartially, was brutally betrayed by Judge Joseph Peel Jr. His actions represented the ultimate perversion of his office, turning the sanctity of the courtroom into a tool for personal gain and criminal enterprise. This betrayal shook the very foundations of public trust and served as a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked power and moral decay within positions of authority. The Chillingworth case stands as a tragic monument to what happens when those sworn to protect justice become its most insidious enemies, a profound betrayal of sacred duty. From the moment the Chillingworths disappeared, the media played a crucial role, first in spreading awareness of the missing couple, then in keeping the cold case alive, and finally in reporting the shocking revelations in trials. Newspapers, radio, and later television ensured that the story resonated across Florida and the nation. While sometimes sensational, the media's continued focus prevented the case from being completely forgotten, exerting pressure on authorities and helping to piece together public memory. Its role underscores how important a free and vigilant press can be in the pursuit of justice, even in the darkest of times. The Chillingworth judicial assassination is truly a case for the ages, one that continues to be studied and discussed. Its complexity, the high-profile nature of the victims and perpetrators, and the shocking twists and turns make it a benchmark in American true crime. It serves as a reminder that the most compelling stories are often rooted in reality, revealing the profound drama and moral dilemmas of the human experience. The legacy of this case ensures that the names of Curtis and Marjorie Chillingworth, and the fight for justice they represent, will echo through time, challenging us to always seek the truth.